Today is finally the day. Hey, dumbass, who said you could get out of the closet? Not today, you fool. Do you have any idea what today is? Well, do ya? Friday? The day that Thor Ragnarok comes out? It is National Sandwich Day. Do either of you know what that means? There's a holiday for sandwiches? It means that subways all across the country are going to be filled and jam-packed with customers, with lines overflowing out the door. It is on such a day where I am at my strongest. Only 1 month and 12 days until Star Wars The Last Jedi. Dude, what's your problem? It's just Subway. There are literally dozens of them around here. It's the second biggest fast food chain in the entire world. Why care so much about one little store? How dare you disrespect Subway? We just lost one of our stores recently. The last few years, sales dropped so low that we had to close down. We lost over half a dozen incredible employees that day. Only one store in our entire franchise remains. We shall honor the fallen and show this town what a Subway employee with cause is capable of.
Good morning, everybody. This is another Tales from a Sandwich Artist. I thought I'd like to start with that little clip from one of my older videos. That was one of my first 40 videos that I ever did, called National Sandwich Day. And that was that character Jeffro. He was getting picked on by the other Jeff characters, and then he got powers on National Sandwich Day. So it's a little reference to one of my first works from back in the day, doing skits. And I thought I'd start out like that, and then just talk pretty chill this morning because it's very early for me. If I had the choice, I would definitely sleep in right now, but I felt like kind of streaming, so sharing a little bit of Subway tales, because why not? I'm going a little crazy sharing some the fresh baked bread that we have and cookies and stuff, even though Subway overall isn't, that fantastic. I mean, that's why I have the Tales from a Sandwich Artist, but, sharing the better aspects here and there. But that's all good. First person rolling on in says, Happy Christmas to all, says Happy Dinosaur 8000. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'm just going to start talking pretty much about some of my Subway stories, some of the tales. I'm going to take you back to a couple years ago where this is when I had my first two jobs. I worked at one Subway and then I worked at another one later. And at some point I was like, okay, I have a lot of free time. I wasn't going to school at the time, so I thought I'd get a second job, but I didn't know where else to go really. So I applied at a bunch of different places, applied at, stuff at the mall and down the road and everything. But at some point I just applied at another Subway. I figured out that, I thought that you couldn't work at more than one Subway at first, but then I gave it a try, applied at another Subway as I was already working at one, and the other Subway took me in as well. So it was two separate Subways that I started to work at. And it was like, it was okay. It was different. It was not the same type of job that you would like to do twice in the same day. I mean, the benefit from it was that I didn't have to learn anything new. It was that I already know how to do the job. It's just extra hours pretty much at a different location with a different setup from a different store, different owners and everything. But, it was okay. I did that for a little while. I made double the money because I would open 5 nights a week and then close 5 nights a week. I'd open at one store, close at the other. So I was literally making double my paycheck. And at the time, I'd usually end up covering somebody's shift anyway at some point. So it was, 6 days sometimes and, just days to nights. I'd only have like a few hours in the day where I'm not working at Subway pretty much. And that did drive me crazy a little bit after a while. After 6 months of doing that, oof, that was a killer. That was not very enjoyable. But I'm going to address the chat real quick before I get to the nitty gritty of where I'm going with that story. So Tito's World just popped in, says, 1 Subway breakfast sandwich, please. And Happy Dinosaur says, I'll take a meatball sandwich on rye. Oof. Sorry, man, we don't have the rye bread at our location anymore. Sorry, bud. Just got the Italian herbs and cheese, wheat, flatbread, and the wraps. And those little sliders now, but And so I was working at 2 Subways, and they're different locations, different franchises, so it's not like it's the same ownership. So I'm not getting overtime or anything for it. It's just, double my paycheck pretty much. And at the other one that I started working at the second Subway, I was pretty much the manager because I worked on the weekdays 5 days a week pretty much. And I pretty much was responsible for everything except for scheduling people. I would literally come there every day, do the inventory, do all the paperwork. I would do all these requirements of a manager, but I wasn't getting a manager's wage. And that was all right for a little bit. I was getting experience, and that's kind of what counted. But after 6 months, that was definitely not flying. But within those 6 months, so apparently National Sandwich Day is an actual holiday around the country. It's an actual holiday. But nobody really celebrates it. Nobody really does anything with it. But a couple of years ago, they decided to do a huge special deal for the very first time at Subways. Yay! And I was working at 2 Subways, like I said, and that just made it double the worse. The owners at my second Subway had no idea that this was an actual promotion that they were doing for real, so they took no precautions into preparing for these crazy orders that are going to be coming in, for how busy it was going to be that day. Jesus Christ. So I opened at 7 o'clock, or 7 or 8, 7 o'clock, and I'm starting the day like normal. It's just a normal day. And there's a couple customers that come in between that first hour, and it wasn't too bad. But then at 8 o'clock, holy crap, I had a line to the door at 8 a.m. Just after being open for 1 hour. There's a line to the door, and that line never once wavered at all up until when I left. It did not waver once. There was somebody that came in after somebody left the entire day. And that was insane. Luckily, the manager at that store at the time came by to drop something off. She was not planning on working that day, but she, saw the huge line and had to jump on in, thank God. But it was I had to make bread, do prep, make sandwiches, ring all day. I was just busy as hell that whole day. And to be nice, I was scheduled till 1 o'clock that day. I stayed till 4 p.m. At that one location. And mind you, I had to go to another store to do a whole nother shift. I had an hour in between, and I got that first one. It was to a point with the bread that we're going through so much sandwiches because it was a buy one, get one. Buy a sandwich, get another one for equal or lesser value, basically. So everybody was buying stuff and getting stuff. And they'd get 4 sandwiches at a time usually because that's 2 free sandwiches, basically. And, oh my God, it was just complete hell. It was so not ready for it. My manager that came in also brought a friend with her that I was just tagging along while she did an errand, and she put him to work, and he does not even work for that company, and had him prep things in the back while we're all helping making sandwiches and stuff. So that was pretty funny for that person. He did not like doing that, but I assume she gave him something, gave him pizza, I would imagine, for reward. But so after working for however many hours I was, from 8 a.m. to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I worked so long over there. I had 1 hour break in between my shifts, which I had to take the bus to go to my next location. And, basically had time to eat a little bit of something. I don't even remember what the hell I ate. I think there's pizza. See, at my first location, at my main store, the owner was nice enough, and she was kind of prepared a little bit. She had more employees scheduled that day and a little more prep done beforehand, but not by that much. But she also ordered some pizzas to give us while we're working all day because there's gonna be no time to make a sandwich or nothing for ourselves. So that was pretty smart of her. So I came in, had some of that, I think, and then had to start my shift all over again pretty much. And I just got off a shift from one Subway working for over 10 hours over there, and then had to start at another one. And oh my God, this store was a lot bigger than the other one I was just at, and I had to. It was again a line to the door, the whole shift. We stayed open until 10 o'clock, and it took 2 of us to finish closing. For another 2 hours. There was still we had to completely stock the whole vein again with stuff for the next day, prep a few things, finish out the bread, get the bread stuff all done, do dishes, clean the lobby. There's still a bunch to do when we're done closing finally, and everybody finally left the goddamn store. But oh my God, it was hell. I worked 17 hours at Subway that day total for National Sandwich Day. I worked 17 freaking hours. That I dreamt when I went to sleep that night. I literally dreamt about making sandwiches. That's horrible. Why the hell would you want to dream about work when you just got done working all goddamn day? But yeah, that's pretty much my National Sandwich Day story. I mean, it was just the busiest day ever. Like, we were so underprepared. The following year, I did not work at that other Subway. I'd stick to my main one. I was just working at one location the second year. We were a little bit more prepared this time, thankfully. Thank freaking God, because it was busy again that year. It was slightly less busy than the previous year, but we were far more prepared. Had actual employees scheduled. We had, actual, breaks implied, things prepped the day before. A lot of bread already pre-made, so we don't have that same issue of running out of bread a whole bunch. So we were so prepared. And then after that, the year after that, it was just kind of trickled down to nothing. But that first National Sandwich Day, it's a 17-hour shift basically to handle all the customers and stay there and everything, was just freaking insane. I hope I never have to deal with something like that again, but I would be prepared for it actually, because by now, after dealing with that a couple years, like, I can handle anything. Like, as an employee, basically, it's not too difficult. I will pretty much tough it through. I am a soldier now, I would say, in the fast food area, because it's just, I don't know. Like, you when you have a huge line like that all day long and at two different locations, and you're still working through them, anything after that becomes so minute and pathetic that it doesn't matter. Like, I've had a lot of lines, busy days after that, but I don't care anymore. Like, those don't affect me at all. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll just bust through you as best I can, pretty much, and have to deal with it that way. Taking a look in the chat real quick. Happy Dinosaur 8000 says, remember to share and chomp the like button, people. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I like the support here. And Star Wars for Life for Ruthie Poothy says, what's up? Yeah, I'll make that sandwich for you, Ruth. Don't worry. I'll make the sandwich and I'll give it to you through the Sony teleporter that I'm pretty sure they're just inventing. One of these days they'll have it. Don't worry. And yep, he says, ooh, a tasty Philly cheesesteak sandwich chop. Yep. Yeah, we actually, at our location, we don't call them the Philly cheesesteaks anymore. It's just the regular cheesesteak. On the Philly cheesesteak, I think that one had 3 scoops of steak, but now we just have the 2 scoops at our location. Some might still have the Philly cheesesteak as it once was, but not over here. I'll tell you guys a little Subway sandwich secret if you guys want to know a secret sub. One that's on the secret menu that only some Subway employees know, not every Subway employee knows it, is the Pizziola. Pizziola is 2 scoops of the fajita chicken, the chopped up chicken, and then you get some marinara sauce over, so it's the 2 scoops of the chicken, then you get 6 pieces of pepperoni over the chicken, and then some marinara sauce over that, and then your cheese. And that is the Pizziola. That is not on menus on most Subways. I doubt any Subway has that on their menu anymore. That was an older sandwich, or that was a secret sandwich. It was before my time, or it's just always been a secret one. I'm not exactly sure on its origins. But yeah, it's 2 scoops of chicken, 6 pieces of pepperoni, and marinara sauce, and some cheese over that, and that is the Pizziola. And then, some Subways also don't have their pizza subs anymore, but, the way to do it, if you wanted to custom make it yourself, there's 12 slices of pepperoni goes on there, 6 on each side of the bread, and then marinara sauce on both sides, double cheese, toasted, boom. Yeah, your pizza sub. And if you want to put toppings on it, then you can, no problem, that's all good. There's also some people that want to watch their weight when they're doing sandwiches, so they want to take out the bread so they eat less carbs or something. I call that the skinny up, because it's making the sandwich a little skinnier, and plus it's usually in regards to losing weight, so why not? But so that was my National Sandwich Day story a minute ago. Worked a 17-hour shift, and that was just fucking insane. But I'll do maybe one more story and make this kind of a shorter stream. The last one I went on for over an hour, but I think that was because I had a pretty big chat in the morning on that one. I do realize that it is early still, even on the East Coast. It's only 11 a.m. Some people will not get up before noon. I know that for a fact. So, so my next one it's going to be at that same one. I called that one the Walmart Subway, even though it wasn't it wasn't actually inside the Walmart, but it was right next to Walmart at the time. And at that store, we went through quite a few different employees, of course, as you could say, naturally. Every Subway pretty much burns through employees. There's always a low return rate. There's always, they always return all the time, I guess. I don't know how you'd phrase that, but we always lose employees, gain employees. There's always somebody new every couple weeks, pretty much. But at that one, we got somebody who worked at a different Subway before, who was a manager at an older store, and she said she worked for like 5 years, and it's like, okay, that's good experience and all that, and she could be a good second in for me while I'm doing the main opening on the days and whatnot. And oh my God, this chick just was awful as hell. I don't remember her name. I'm just gonna call her Chick, because why not? Toxic male, I guess. But no, she would. Okay, so we had these little things that we would date the food with. It's like a little gun that, you pretty much put in the date in the gun, and then you just, label it on the bins, basically. It's how you label the food. It's how you had the expiration dates and whatnot. But no, that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted to literally bring like some type of weird marker thing, some weird sharp. It wasn't a Sharpie. It was the ink actually goes off pretty easy, but that's what's bad because it wipes off a whole bunch. There's some type of marker that she would label every freaking bin with, and even the packages of meat, which you're not supposed to do directly, really. You're like labeling this stuff on the packages. You're supposed to put a sticker on it or something and then label it. But she was just labeling every freaking bin with that. So think about it logically. You're trying to stock the bin. That's what's where we keep the food up front on the sandwich line, and you reach back and there's this bin covered in marker, and you have that, and you have your gloves on while you're about to change the stuff, and then it just wipes off onto the markers. Now you got to change your gloves every time you touch it, and even just touching the bin with your bare hands, you get the marker stuff spread everywhere, and it ruins the dates that was on there. There's just markers everywhere, all over the counters, over the refrigerator, the walk-in, like on knives, because she kept on writing it on the bins, and it would just spread everywhere, and it would smear the dates. And it was like, what the hell are you doing? Why did you think this was logical? And she even wrote on the prep table. She wrote like a note for everybody on the prep table. Like, what the hell are you doing? That's where you prep the food. You don't do it on the prep table. You leave it like near it or something and put it on the wall. Like, it was so stupid. I don't know. But then that wasn't the only problem. That was just one of the things she would do. And then the other one was, instead of like saying anything to a coworker, like if you see a coworker doing something stupid, you usually say, hey, don't do that. All right. Because there's, blank and blank reasons why you shouldn't do that. And you let them know, or, hey, I think you forgot to do this, but no problem. I got it. Just letting you know. But no, she would like notice that the lid wasn't put back on the tea, because the tea takes like 5 minutes to make. You start it, and then, later you put on the lid when it's all done. But sometimes in the opening shift, you get a little distracted and you might forget a little bit, or, but then as you walk by as an employee, you can just put the lid on. I mean, why not? That's what I would usually do when I'm not opening at my other store. I'm usually the closer, and I see the lid is still not on there. I just put it on myself. Case closed. Done. Boom. You're done. There's no problem with it at all. No issues. But no, she would just she had a little notebook, a little journal or something, where I call it the Tattletale journal, because that's all she would do. She would just literally tattle in it. She'd have a note ready to tell the owners whenever she had the chance. Was like, so this person forgot to put the lids on there. When I walked in, there was some crumbs on the floor once, and it was just like she had all these stupid notes about all the employees, and it was like, a real coworker would literally just say something to the coworker and say, hey, you forgot to do the lid on there. Okay, thank you, no problem. Thanks for reminding me. And then you're done, and that's it, and there's nothing else to it. But she would turn it into drama and just be such a tattletale. It's so stupid. And she was complaining with how certain things were done all the time. And then at one point we had a staff meeting, and she told the owner straight up to his face, she's like, this is one of the worst stores I've ever been to, I've ever worked at. And he was just like, oh, really? That's what you think? I looked at the manager, fire her now, after the meeting was done. It's like, oh, shit. Do not say that to your boss. They will not enjoy that. It's not very fun at all. And I was very glad to see her go, but ever since then, every time somebody ever writes in marker on a bin, I have the chills that they just hired that employee again. And it's like, no, let her go. She's horrible for employees. She's not good to employees. And she was like arguing with how, like, on the sandwich line, how I was making the sandwiches. Like, well, there's two people in line, and when there's two people in line, there's not a big deal with how the order goes. But she was like, no, you did the sandwich line wrong. It's supposed to be like an assembly line. And it's like, no, it's supposed to be like an assembly line when there's multiple customers. When there's just like two customers, there's no reason for it at all. There's like, you just make the freaking sandwiches. I don't know. It's like nowadays I'm so used to doing sandwiches myself, even that, like, I'm an efficient machine myself. Like, I don't really need another coworker there. The only reason they come in handy is to ring something up, so I don't gotta change my gloves pretty much, or so I don't have to wash my hands again. But I don't know. I feel like that is almost good enough for a Tales from the Sandwich Artist today. The chat's not quite as bumping as it was last time to where I can keep it rolling, but I appreciate the people stopping by right now. I do have plenty more sandwich stories to tell you in the future if you guys want to hear them, because there's some Subway injuries, there's specific Subway employees and customer stories, interactions that have happened over the last 5 years. Worked at Subway for 5 years, so plenty of stories to tell with all that. But that's just the tales for today. I'm going to close out by showing you guys just showing you the same clip that at the beginning, but for people that didn't come in at the beginning, I'm just going to show it for you one more time. Again, I appreciate people rolling on in as I'm doing this. All right, let's do it. It's still at full screen. Okie dokie. We are going to do this. Boom.
Today is finally the day. Hey, dumbass, who said you could get out of the closet? Not today, you fool. Do you have any idea what today is? Well, do ya? Friday? The day that Thor Ragnarok comes out? It is National Sandwich Day. Do either of you know what that means? There's a holiday for sandwiches? It means that subways all across the country are going to be filled and jam-packed with customers, with lines overflowing out the door. It is on such a day where I am at my strongest. Only 1 month and 12 days until Star Wars The Last Jedi. Dude, what's your problem? It's just Subway. There are literally dozens of them around here. It's the second biggest fast food chain in the entire world. Why care so much about one little store? How dare you disrespect Subway? We just lost one of our stores recently. The last few years, sales dropped so low that we had to close down. We lost over half a dozen incredible employees that day. Only one store in our entire franchise remains. We shall honor the fallen and show this town what a Subway employee with cause is capable of.
Alrighty, thank you everybody once again for dropping by. I'll do another Tales from the Sandwich Artist probably next week. We shall see. I do not know. Until then, see you guys later.